Did you know that a single hurricane can release more energy than all the nuclear power plants in the world combined? Let's take a look at how hurricanes form and which ones in the Atlantic have been among the most destructive in history. I'm starting a new video series. A hurricane is a tropical cyclone in an advanced stage of development in the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific. Tropical cyclones have different names around the world. In the Western Pacific, they are called typhoons, and in the Indian Ocean, they are usually just called cyclones. In the Atlantic, they occur most often between August and November. A hurricane forms in tropical regions over oceans and seas. On average, it reaches about 600 kilometers across, though it can exceptionally grow larger than 1,000 kilometers or be smaller than 200 kilometers. The air pressure in its center can drop below 930 HPA, and in extreme cases even lower. As a result, the air around its center rotates very strongly, with speeds exceeding 118 kilometers per hour. Thanks to the condensation of water vapor, an extraordinary amount of latent heat is released, which subsequently causes a drop in air pressure, strong rotation, and intense rainfall. The favorable conditions for the formation of a tropical cyclone in the Atlantic include weak vertical wind shear, meaning little difference in wind flow between upper and lower levels of the troposphere. Strong wind shear tilts thunderstorms and disrupts the storm complex, leading to the collapse of the tropical cyclone. Ocean surface temperatures of at least 26.5 degrees Celsius down to a depth of at least 70 m. Warm water is the energy source for tropical cyclones. The warmer the water, the more intense their development. Sufficient distance from the equator. The rotation of a developing tropical cyclone is driven by the Coriolis force, which is 0 at the equator and increases with distance from it. Thus, tropical cyclones form at least 5 degrees away from the equator. Condensation of water vapor and the release of latent heat. High humidity in the lower and middle troposphere is crucial as an energy source and necessary for the system's continuous regeneration. The presence of unstable air masses. The higher the instability, the faster warm and moist air rises into the upper troposphere, accelerating system development. A pre-existing disturbance, typically from clusters of thunderstorms moving off Africa in the easterly flow, so-called Cape Verde-type hurricanes. However, a tropical storm can also form in the Gulf of Mexico or the Caribbean Sea. The development of a tropical cyclone has several stages. At first, a tropical wave forms, an area of lower air pressure with converging cyclonic circulation. North of the equator, this is counterclockwise. The first seeds of hurricanes often form west of Africa and north of the equator. The second stage is a tropical disturbance. Warm, moist air rises, forming towering cumulus clouds, and latent heat is released during condensation. Over time, a tropical disturbance may develop into a tropical depression. Convection intensifies, the low-pressure area deepens, and pressure differences increase. As a result, wind speed rises and can reach up to 61 kilometers per hour, 1 minute average. With favorable conditions, a tropical depression develops into a tropical storm. Surface pressure continues to drop, and average wind speeds around the low-pressure center range from 62 to 118 kilometers per hour. At this stage, the storm receives a name, such as Hurricane Katrina. When wind speeds exceed 118 kilometers per hour, the system is classified as a hurricane. Based on 1-minute sustained winds, hurricanes are divided into 5 categories. Categories 3, 4, and 5 are considered major hurricanes. The final stage of a hurricane's life is weakening and dissipation. The hurricane loses energy as it moves over land or cooler waters. Vertical wind shear strengthens, tilting thunderstorms. The central low-pressure area expands, weakening the pressure gradient and winds. Friction over land further robs the hurricane of energy. Gradually, the entire structure collapses. If a hurricane moves north over the Atlantic, such as Hurricane Erin in August 2025, it weakens more slowly and can merge into the prevailing westerlies. There it typically becomes part of a large low-pressure system or transitions into an extratropical cyclone. A hurricane has a so-called visible on satellite images as a region with significantly less cloudiness than its surroundings. Around the eye is the eyewall, where the densest clouds form, and from its spiral outward bands of towering cumulonimbus clouds. The eye of a hurricane averages 20 to 50 kilometers in diameter. It is characterized by the lowest pressure, descending air, drying, and warming. Cloudiness is minimal, with no precipitation and much weaker winds than outside the eye. The eyewall, about 10 to 20 kilometers wide, contains the tallest clouds, the strongest winds, and the heaviest rainfall. If it passes over land, this is where the greatest damage usually occurs. Beyond the eyewall lies the rainbands, spirals of thick cloud rotating cyclonically around the eye. Above them, high-level clouds rotate in the opposite, anticyclonic direction. In this region, thunderstorms occur, and over land, even tornadoes can develop. Among the most destructive hurricanes in the Atlantic, measured by damage and loss of life, are Hurricane Katrina, Harvey, Maria, Irma, and Sandy. If you want to know the difference between tropical and extratropical cyclones, and whether hurricanes can affect Europe or even Slovakia, subscribe to the channel and don't miss this hurricane series.